Good morning, everybody. This covers off how to add a texture to something, specifically text in this case, but you could add it to anything you wanted. Um, as you can see, I am in Illustrator, and the first thing I will do is that I'm going to choose a HD HDTV 1080 document. I've chosen that, and I'm just coming down to more settings, and I'm making sure that my transparency grid is off. 1920 1080, same size as my compositions. Transparency grid is off, and when I create the document, I get a nice white background. I'm choosing the rectangle tool, and I am drawing a shape that is, there we go, full artboard. Now, the fill that I'm going to use, I'm going to make a couple of these, and I need to go to my swatches panel, and we know normally that one can fill with these predefined colors. Not the greatest colors on earth, but here is the Swatch Libraries menu, and this has a bit more interest to it. And I'm going to the Swatch Libraries, and I am going to Patterns, and I am choosing Basic Graphics. And I'll just go for the Textures section. And as soon as I've done that, this new palette has opened, which shows me the current library of textures. So if I select one of those as my fill color, we see that we get something like that, or like that, and so on and so forth. Below these, a little wee navigator arrow. So I want to go back to, and there we go. Here we see we have lines, and that means that I can fill things with particular types of lines. There we go. And if I go back one more, there are halftone dots. And these are the dots that I've used as a overlay pattern for the text in the Gil Scott Heron After Effects file that I've put up on Moodle. So I will choose not that, although that is interesting. I might go back to this. So I have this. I'm going to go File, Save As. I'll call this Pattern 1. I click on Save. And while I'm here, I might as well make a couple more. If I go forward to those diagonal lines, I might use this one. File, Save As. This is going to be pattern 2. Save that. Click on OK, and one more. I'll try this one. File, Save As, and that'll become pattern number 3. Great. So, switching now over to After Effects. Creating a new composition. I'm going to call this Text and Texture. And just changing my background color to white. Let's click on OK. All right, super. So if I get some text, how do I apply a texture to it? So I've got my text. I'm going to go back to a single view, and now in my project area, in my content bin, I'm going to double click, and I'm going to add those 3 patterns. So selecting all of those, clicking on the open. So I'm going to get pattern number 1, and add it to the topmost layer. If I want the texture just to be exactly where my text is, I could again think about using my track mats. And so once I've attached the track mat, it is now only the texture that is driving the visibility of the text. So there it looks like it has an alpha channel put into it. So if I change my background color, there we go. We see that we now have textured text. If I get this and I select pattern number 2, if I wanted to swap this for that, and let's think that if pattern 1 had a whole bunch of animation on it, in fact, let's just do that. Let's have a keyframe and some movement so that now when I play that through, you see that yes, you can have animation. Let's say we've done this and you want to get this pattern and you want to swap it out for that pattern. If we're doing things as we'd expect, you would delete this, put that in, position it, add your animation, move your keyframes, get everything working, and then hope that everything's working to the same speed. In After Effects, we do have a really handy replace feature. The way that it works is that you select the item that you want to replace. You select the item in your content bin that you want to replace it with. And then if I hold down the Option key and I click and I drag, I have replaced pattern 1 with pattern 2, and it keeps the animation. Now, the thing is, this has horizontal lines, so I'm animating them moving in a straight line, and it's no wonder you can't see anything happening. I could do a couple of things. One, I could repeat the process so that you see it. That's selected. Select the thing that I want to replace it with. I hold down the Option key and I click and drag, and on it goes. I'm actually going to come back to this one and replace that because I'm going to go in here and get the rotation. And let's keep the rotation like that. And so when I play through now, you can see that the lines are actually moving. So that is how you put texture into a text. If you're wanting to put texture onto an image or something, we might want to think another couple of ways. So I'm going to come back, I'm going to take the text out, I will turn my layer back on, there it is, and I'm just going to swap that out with pattern number 1 again. So let's come to here, there it is. Now, if I open up an image, let's just go with this one. So, sorry, it's limited pictorial stock today. And let's say that I scale that up. So there's a texture, there's an image below it. And let's get that, there we go, center to the screen. Now, what if I wanted my pattern to be a different color? I've made it in Illustrator. I'm happy with the size and shape of it, but I just want a couple of different versions of different colors. Well, here is where effects can be quite useful for us. The way that we can do that is by using effects and presets inside After Effects. So working on the idea that you might not have that open already, if I come to Effects and Presets, there it is. And I'm just using this as a search area. What I'm looking for is an effect called fill. This here. Under the generate menu, there is this item called fill. If I just get that and I drag and drop it onto pattern1.ai, we see that it instantly turns red. And we also see that our project bin, this is where we were, has now swapped over to looking at the effect controls. Let's just take out that keyframe. I can now come to here and choose any color I want. It also means that because there are little wee clocks here, that means that I can animate these parameters. So for example, if I get the color and I'm going to turn that on, and then let's say that in about 10 frames time, there we go, 10 frames time, I'm going to get the color and I'm going to change it from this soothing pink to an orange. And why not just come along a little bit further as it is changing its position. We might as well change its color to yellow. Now, I'm wanting to get it the same yellow as the background. I'm going to cancel that because here I can use the dropper, the eyedropper icon. So selecting that, and I click there, and it went black. Oh, it went black because it's selecting the alpha channel color. So I'm just going to choose yellow. That looks pretty good. There we go. And that's a pretty good color match. So now I can have this moving around, but we'll see also, let's just come to here. And if I get that to play through, you see that they change color. If I want to bring everything all together, I would get the track matte and say alpha matte pattern 1. And we see now that once again, it pokes holes into my image, but we don't get the color animation because now it's a track matte. If I turn this to none, sorry, if I turn this to no track matte and I bring that back on, then I have the other form of animation. All right, that's how we add texture. And then finally, of course, we have our color modes. So if I set this to multiply, and you can see that that has a lot of potential. If I wanted to keep this color and movement thing, but I don't want all the dots on the outside, I'm going to make a copy of the PSD file. So edit, duplicate, and I'm going to move that to the top, and I'm going to say that this layer is going to control the visibility of this layer. So I come to track matte, and I'm going to use the alpha matte of 3D positioning PSD, the layer directly above. And now you can see that the dots are only within the visible area of my image. So and there we have it for adding textures onto text and images, as well as animating the textures as well as thinking about adding different blending modes to our textures. So let's say that I try difference. Millions of possibilities. Okay, have fun. Oh, that looks good.